Over the past year, I read 30 self-help books, and you know what? 95% of what I read was useless, but the other 5%? Life-changing to say the least. See, self-help books are everywhere, but some say they're a scam. After reading almost 100 of them, I'm ready to admit the hard truth. Most of them is a complete waste of time. But it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Once you find that needle, whatever you need it for, you realize it was worth it. If you've ever doubted if these books even work or felt overwhelmed by self-help advice, this video is for you. I will share the core lessons that will help you reshape how you approach your time, habits, and mindset. Here's the plan. I'll break down key findings from 4 of the most impactful books I read this year, share how they shaped my approach to self-help, and most importantly, at the end of the video, I'll reveal the simple tip that can save you from making the same mistake of wasting time on reading bad self-help books. Growing up in a poor family in Moscow outskirts, I always dreamed of achieving something great, outstanding. Deep down, I craved structure, meaning, and control over my life. I didn't want to be like most people. I wanted to excel in something and build a balanced life I could be proud of. The breaking moment happened when I started reading non-fiction. Books seemed like the answer to many of my problems. I was told that reading was something smart people did, and I wanted to take charge of my life, my goals and my health, so I dove headfirst into self-help, consuming every book I could find. On the bus, during breaks, before bed, I was constantly reading, and I consumed so much information. The thing I admitted this year is willpower is the foundation for so much in life. Breaking bad habits, achieving your goals, but let's be honest, it's not easy to master. It's called willpower for a reason. I learned this the hard way. When I struggled to cut weight and achieve that lean, aesthetic physique I've been working toward in the gym. I wasn't overweight, but I knew the missing piece to my progress wasn't more muscle. It was better discipline with my diet. For months, I felt stuck, setting ambitious goals for my diet, failing to stick to them, and starting over again. That's why I opted for reading The Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGonigal. One of the first lessons from the book is that mindfulness is a powerful way to strengthen willpower and reduce stress. Simple breathing exercises are quite effective, and it was proved by numerous studies. Why not use this tool to your advantage? Another insight that stood out was the idea of pre-commitment. Instead of relying on willpower in the moment, make decisions in advance to eliminate temptations. For example, I started preparing my meals ahead of time so I wouldn't reach for unhealthy snacks after a long day. If you repeatedly fall into the same traps, don't rely on sheer willpower. Design your environment to make the right choice easier. I always think of willpower as the last resort. It's better to design your day so you won't need to use it when it comes to important tasks, especially if you're already depleted. Now let's talk a bit about stress relief. It's rather tricky because what feels good doesn't always help. The book points out that activities like binge watching TV, eating comfort foods, or scrolling on your phone can actually make stress worse. Instead, focus on activities that truly help. Exercising, reading, listening to music, spending time with family or friends, meditating, or engaging in a creative hobby. For me, even a quick walk outside worked wonders when I felt stressed or tempted. Now last but not least thing from the book I want to point out. One of the hardest hidden lessons sounds a bit cliche. Don't lie to yourself about tomorrow. When I was struggling with late night binge eating, I'd always tell myself, it's fine, next week I'll stick to my diet. I saw it in movies so many times I couldn't imagine myself falling into this trap. But I did. Every time I came home, I came up with the excuse why I should start dieting later. But at those moments, it always seemed like a plausible reason. Like I truly deserved to put it off. It's like thinking that next week you will be a totally different person. That suddenly you'll have more energy, more willpower. You gotta recognize that your future self is not magically more disciplined or capable than you are now. The same challenges and temptations you face today will still be there tomorrow. So you need to focus on present and ask yourself, do I want the consequences of this behavior over the long term? If you skip a workout or eat unhealthy today, how will that choice compound over a year? Shifting your focus to the long-term impact helps you make better decisions in the present. These lessons resonated deeply because I saw my own struggles in the book's examples. But what's great is that these insights don't just apply to fitness. They can transform how you approach any area of life where willpower plays a role. Let's move on to the next book in our list. And if you enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button to let me know you appreciate the effort I put in creating videos. Time management advice often promises to help us clear our to-do list and finally feel in control, right? But here's the harsh reality. You'll never get everything done, and life will never feel perfectly organized. That's one of the most eye-opening lessons I learned from 4,000 weeks. And it completely changed how I approach my time and priorities. We all feel pressure of endless tasks, exam preparations, coding projects, gym routine, journaling that never seem to end. But here's the problem. We'll never get to a point where everything is perfectly in order. There will always be more emails, errands, and to-dos piling up. Instead of obsessing over clearing your schedule, focus on what's truly important that will make the biggest impact on your life. But the hard part is to learn to tolerate the discomfort of leaving some things undone. It's not easy, but it's essential if you want to spend your time wisely. Here's a simple but valid analogy from the book. If you invest a portion of your paycheck the day you receive it, you won't feel the absence of that cash later this month. But if you hesitate for several weeks, that money can slip away without you noticing it. We're terrible at long-range planning. Then feel bad there is nothing left over to save. Just like this, you should invest several minutes of your day in what truly matters before letting it slip away on less important things. And again, don't rely solely on willpower. When it comes to distractions, social media companies are the best at it. Of course, for their business to thrive, they design the apps to keep you scrolling for as long as they can make you. Every time you open a social media application, there are people on the other side of the screen paid to keep you there. Their job is to design the app to keep you scrolling. Unrealistic to expect to resist it by means of willpower alone, right? You can set app limits, turning off notifications, or even deleting the most tempting apps altogether. The goal is to design your environment so you can focus on what matters without constantly fighting distractions. Now let's talk about something so many people are chasing, but seemingly never get a true hold of. What if everything we've been told about happiness is a lie? That's what The Myths of Happiness by Sonia Lubomirsky reveals. Many of us believe happiness is tied to certain milestones, like being young, achieving success, having money, or having everything figured out. But chasing these myths can leave you feeling the opposite, which is unhappy. One of the biggest myths Lubomirsky breaks down is the idea that youth is one of the deciding factors of happiness. No one wants to be old, right? Many of us are afraid of it. But the truth? Happiness doesn't depend on age. You're not happier the younger you are. Instead of longing to slow down time, which is worrying about something you can't control, focus on building habits and relationships that matter now. Whether you're 20, 40 or 60 years old, you can be the happiest you've been in your life. Next finding is that our memories are so unreliable. We often think of them as snapshots of reality, but they're anything but perfect. We forget, emphasize, and distort events to fit the narratives we've created about ourselves. This is both a challenge and an opportunity. Instead of clinging to negative memories, we can reframe them and focus on the moments that bring growth and gratitude. People can reframe unpleasant experiences and think of them as rather a challenge, a growth opportunity. One more thing from this book I need to share with you is about success. It's easy to think that it comes from talent coupled with luck, but diligence is what really makes people successful. Small, consistent efforts over time make the biggest difference. Whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal growth, this ties back to the idea that happiness isn't about big milestones, but the process of steady improvement. Have you ever finished a workday and thought, I can't wait to just relax, only to feel bored, restless, or even unsatisfied during your free time? The book called The Flow explains how we can use our time and energy to find the fulfillment in both work and life. Many of us view work or studies as something that drains us, a necessary evil to get through so we can finally enjoy our free time. But here's the problem. When we don't challenge ourselves or engage meaningfully with our abilities, we end up feeling weaker, sadder, and unfulfilled, even when we're relaxing. If you ever felt like you're just going through the motions, this book will give you an interesting perspective. Optimal experience and satisfaction happen when we are engaged in activities that perfectly balance challenge and skill. If something's too easy, we get bored. If it's too hard, we get overwhelmed. But when it's just right, we enter a state of flow, a state of focus so deep that time seems to disappear. This applies to work, hobbies, and even social activities. We're often told that work is something that enslaves us, takes away our freedom, and forces us to put in effort. But the book challenges the stereotype. Work can actually be a source of joy and personal growth if you approach it the right way. The key is to look for new challenges and aim to learn as much as possible. Sitting around waiting for time to pass doesn't just waste time. It robs you of the chance to grow. Spending our time watching TV can sometimes make us feel worse because we don't engage with our abilities. When we're not using our skills, even relaxation can feel empty. That's why it's important to balance leisure activities with challenges that keep us engaged and fulfilled. For me, this means prioritizing hobbies like journaling, fitness, or creating videos, activities that challenge me and give me a sense of progress. And now, finally, a bonus tip on how to choose self-help books wisely I promised you at the beginning of the video. The thing that has worked for me quite alright was reading, watching, or listening to a book summary before deciding on whether I will read the full version. Yeah, I know, a summary is kind of like a spoiler. It gives away the main points of a book. But if you're sure you don't want to spend several hours of your life on a bad or repetitive read, then reading a summary can be a great way to decide if a book is worth your time. It helps identify key insights quickly, spot fluff or overwhelm, evaluate depth, and save time and energy. So there you have it. Those 4 books cover such topics as willpower, time, happiness, and optimal performance, giving you a well-rounded toolkit for improving your life. If you enjoyed this breakdown, you'll love my other videos where I dive deeper into productivity, mindset, and creating a balanced, focused life. Be sure to check them out and subscribe for more insights to help you grow. I truly hope this video is helpful and definitely have a good day.